She was inside the top 30, rising fast, beating seasoned players, and suddenly, she's down at number 45. So what just happened to Eala? And why this drop might actually be the most important moment of her career? Because if you're just looking at the rankings, you're missing the real story. And trust me, the real story is way more interesting. Let's start with the headline moment. Miami, a tournament that clearly means something special to Eala. She even said herself that it holds a special place in her heart. And honestly, you could feel that every time she stepped on court. But here's the twist. Last year, she shocked everyone by making a deep run to the semifinals. That run wasn't just impressive, it was career-defining. It gave her a massive boost in ranking points and instantly changed how the tennis world looked at her. This year, round of 16. Now, on paper, that still sounds good. But in the ranking system of tennis, good isn't always enough, especially when you're defending big points from the previous season. And that's exactly where things started to slip. Eala picked up 120 points this time. Last year, she earned 390. That's not a small difference, that's a massive gap. And just like that, her total ranking points dropped significantly, allowing multiple players to leapfrog her in the standings. But here's where things get interesting. Because if you think this is a failure, you're misunderstanding how tennis careers actually evolve. Let's talk about her run in Miami this year. She didn't crash out early. She didn't look out of place. In fact, she looked composed, aggressive, and increasingly confident against experienced opponents. Wins over Magda Linette and Laura Siegemund weren't just routine victories. These are players who know how to grind, who know how to disrupt rhythm, who can drag you into uncomfortable matches. And Eala handled them. That tells you something important. Her level didn't drop. The ranking did. And those are two very different things. Because rankings don't always reflect form in real time. They reflect consistency over 52 weeks. So when you lose a big chunk of points from one tournament, it creates a dip, even if your actual performance is still solid. Now here's the moment that really mattered. Her match against Karolina Muchova. Straight sets loss. And if you only look at the scoreline, you might think she was outclassed. But Muchova is not just any opponent. She's one of the smartest players on tour. She mixes pace, changes angles, and constantly forces her opponent to think instead of just react. That kind of player is a nightmare matchup, especially for someone still building experience at the highest level. And that's where Eala is right now. She's not struggling. She's learning. And that's a big difference. Now let's zoom out for a second. Because while Eala was navigating her Miami campaign, something huge was happening at the top of the sport. Aryna Sabalenka just pulled off something special. She didn't just win Miami. She completed the Sunshine Double. Indian Wells, Miami. Back to back. That's one of the hardest achievements in tennis. Different conditions, different opponents, constant pressure. And she came out on top of both. And in the final, she took down Coco Gauff in 3 sets. That tells you exactly how high the level is right now at the top of the women's game. And this matters for Eala, because this is the environment she's trying to break into. Players like Sabalenka, Gauff, Elena Rybakina, and IJA Swiatek aren't just winning. They're setting the standard. Power, consistency, mental toughness. That's the bar. And Eala is getting closer to it. But she's not there yet. And that's okay. Because here's the part nobody talks about enough. Progress in tennis is not linear. You don't just keep climbing every single week. There are dips. There are resets. There are moments where it looks like you're going backward, when in reality, you're setting up your next leap forward. And this might be one of those moments, because now the surface changes. Clay season is coming. And this is where things could get really interesting. Clay is slower. It rewards patience. It demands strategy. It forces players to construct points instead of just hitting through opponents. And for a player like Eala, that could be a huge opportunity. Why? Because her game isn't just about power. She's got variety. She's got touch. And more importantly, she's developing that ability to adapt mid-match. Those are tools that become incredibly valuable on clay. Now, here's the question I want you to think about. Is this ranking drop actually pressure, or is it freedom? Because when you're inside the top 30, expectations change. Suddenly, Every match you're supposed to win feels heavier. Every loss gets analyzed. Every performance gets judged differently. But at number 45, you get a little bit of breathing room. You get to play more freely. And sometimes, that's exactly what a young player needs to unlock the next level. Now let's talk mentality. Because rankings affect confidence, whether players admit it or not. Seeing your number drop can mess with your head. It can make you question things. Am I improving? Am I stuck? Am I falling behind? But the best players, they don't let rankings define them. They use them as information, not identity. And from what we've seen so far, Eala has that mindset. Her post-Miami message wasn't negative. It wasn't offensive. It was reflective and appreciative. That tells you a lot about where her head is at. She's not panicking. She's processing. And that's exactly what you want to see. Now, let's address something that's been floating around. And yes, this part is more of a rumor than confirmed reality. There are whispers in the tennis community that some players are starting to study Eala more closely now. Not because she's dominating, but because she's unpredictable. And that's dangerous. When opponents don't fully understand your patterns yet, you have an edge. But once they start figuring you out, that's when the real challenge begins. So the next phase of her career isn't just about improving her strengths. It's about evolving faster than her opponents can adjust. That's the real game at this level. Now think about this. If she had defended all her points and stayed inside the top 30, would we even be having this conversation? Probably not. But because of this drop, people are paying attention again. And sometimes that spotlight can be powerful because it creates narrative. And narratives drive momentum. Right now, Eala has a chance to flip this story completely. From ranking drop to comeback run, from missed points to new breakthrough. And the timing couldn't be better. Clay's season is unpredictable. Upsets happen. Momentum shifts quickly. And if she strings together a few strong performances, that ranking can climb back up faster than it dropped. That's the beauty and the chaos of tennis. Now let me ask you something. What matters more right now? The number next to her name, or the level she's building on court? Because if you've been watching closely, you already know the answer. The level is rising, the confidence is growing, and the experience is stacking up. Those are the foundations of a serious player. Not just a rising star, but a future contender. And here's the part that should excite you. We haven't seen her peak yet. Not even close. This is still early. This is still development. This is still the phase where everything is being tested, refined, and rebuilt. And yes, that includes setbacks. Because without setbacks, there's no adjustment. Without adjustment, there's no evolution. And without evolution, there's no breakthrough. So maybe this drop isn't a warning sign. Maybe it's a setup. A setup for a stronger, smarter, more complete version of Alex Eala. One that's not just chasing rankings, but chasing impact. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this ranking drop is a temporary setback or the start of a bigger transformation in Eala's career? Because depending on how she handles the next few months, this moment could either be forgotten or remembered as the turning point. And if history tells us anything about tennis, it's that turning points rarely look obvious when they first happen. But looking back, they change everything. And something tells me we might be watching one of those moments right now. This is Tennis IQ, where we don't just follow tennis. We break it down, question it, and live every moment of it with you. Stick around, because the next story might be even bigger,